In today's video, I'll be going over all the ships that are worth getting that have been rotated in the Armory in the April's coming patch, which will be on April 7th. Also includes the Sibir, which is highly recommended, by the way. Really fun to play, and I'll be talking about that in today's video. But first, let's look at all the ships that are going to be added into this patch. So coming April 7th, we have all these ships that are being added in and these ones that are being removed. And now I did make a video about which ones of here I think that are recommended, but we'll be focusing on the ones that are being added into the Armory in this upcoming patch. As you can see, it's a pretty extensive list, but I did make a little image for you guys to be able to see, so you can pause the video at any time and see in short what ships are worth getting and which ones are not. But I'll be going over each of the ships on why I think they're worth getting and why they are not, as well as their price points and going on from there. So let's get started with the first one being the Arizona. So the Arizona is going to be one that I would avoid getting in this upcoming patch. I wouldn't really recommend it compared to the other tier 6 premiums you can get, as well as the Warspites coming into this patch. So getting this ship for 4,800 doubloons, and you are able to use the Armory coupon, as you can see right here. Let me just pull it up real quick. You can use this coupon here on doubloon ships as well. So for any of the ships I'll be talking about, you'll be able to use this coupon for 25% off whenever they do come into the Armory. But yes, I wouldn't recommend the Arizona. It's very slow. The guns aren't the best for the tier, as well as the very long reload, which makes it very painful to play. So I would definitely not recommend the Arizona. Next ship on the list is going to be the Bearn. Now, the Bearn is going to be a tier 6 French aircraft carrier that I actually do recommend. And the reason why is because it has some of the best fighters in the game. If you want to play a CV just to mess with other CVs and help protect your team, then the Bearn is the ship for you. It doesn't have the best it doesn't have the best offensive capabilities. It does have AP dive bombers with HE skip bombers, but they do have tons of fighters, and it's really strong. It has comparable to Essex fighter level HP, which makes it very hard for enemies to be able to destroy them, as well as it makes it very easy for you to deplane enemy CVs. So for that, I think that for 4,800 doubloons, that the Bearn is 1,000% worth it on this list. For the Constellation, it's going to be on a niche, and the reason why I say that is because it's more of a battle cruiser more than a battleship. It has the armor of like a heavy battle cruiser, 27mm battle bow, and then aft with a deck armor of 57mm. So the armor on it is okay, but it's definitely very easily sittable by battleships. So you do have to be careful of that. So definitely be careful of your broadside there. It does come with torpedoes, which are 9.2 kilometers, the guns are actually pretty nice for what the ship is. You'll mostly be using HE against the higher tier ships you're facing them, or AP on broadside shots. And it does come with a 10-kilometer radar, which is very useful when you're trying to push in late game against destroyers that are smoking up, or against cruisers that are smoking up as well. So it's very maneuverable, high top speed. It's definitely more of a niche, but personally, for 11,300 doubloons, if you're looking for like a faster, more more versatile, like battle cruiser kind of American ship, then I definitely think that the Constellation will be worth it for you. For the next one coming up, the Duca D'Aosta. I don't think this ship is worth the 4,800 doubloons. It has HE, AP with 150mm guns, a 7.5 second reload. The Citadel on this thing, it's of course a tier 6, cruiser, so it's yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of recommending a lot of tier 6 cruisers. So the Duca is definitely something I would avoid getting. It does have a 4-kilometer hydro, DFAA, but it is Italian, so the anti-air isn't going to be the best. It does come with a spotter plane, which would help you out when you're being up-tiered. So if you want to get it, sure, but for me, I wouldn't buy this, and I wouldn't really recommend it. So yeah, it's going to be on the avoid one for me. So the Exeter. So we meet again. Exeter, so you can get this thing for 3,800 doubloons. And even though it's one of the few tier 5 cruisers in the game to get a heal, I don't recommend it. If you just look at the guns, you have 6 guns in total with a 203 millimeter guns with a 15-second reload, by the way. Yeah, armor, it's of course it's tier 5, so it's not gonna have very good armor at all. You're just a dev strike machine. Battleships can easily dev strike you, and the guns and the heal, even though the guns are big, like that long reload is not gonna save you at all in that. It's gonna be such a low DPM. And the heal, even though you do have a heal, it ain't gonna save you. You're still gonna get dev struck. So yeah, Exeter, highly avoid. One of the most highly avoided ones on this list. The next one on this list is going to be the Florida. And you can get this for 7,800 doubloons. Now this thing plays more like a battle cruiser. So if you've ever wanted a Rhode Island, right? You wanted a Rhode Island, but you didn't have the money for the Rhode Island, so you want a down-tiered Rhode Island. Well, this thing essentially plays just like a Rhode Island. You keep mid to long distance, you throw a lot of HE, you throw AP at broadsides. It has a heal, DFA, and spotter plane. The DFA is nice for the tier, and its anti-air is actually pretty decent for what the tier is. So I think for 7,800 doubloons, it has a nice speed as well. Not the best, not the worst. Nice concealment. But I think overall, like, as you can tell here, the armor is a battle cruiser armor, 25mm bow, but it is a battleship, 37mm deck aft. Yeah, if you show your broadside, you're going to get citadels, so be careful with that. But overall, if you've ever wanted a Rhode Island, but a down-tiered one, then the Florida would definitely be the ship for you. FR-25. One of the worst premiums in the game. It's essentially, they try to make Apollo Emilio that is way worse than a down-tiered Apollo Emilio. You're not going to be able to get any really successful runs with this thing. The torpedoes don't do enough damage to really one-shot any of the battleships at that tier. So I do not recommend this ship at all. For 7,800 doubloons, you can easily get another destroyer. But yes, do not get the FR-25. Absolutely horrible, terrible guns, terrible torpedoes, just overall just bad. Do not get this thing. Do not. So the next ship on this list is going to be the Hampshire. So you can get the Hampshire for 11,300 doubloons. Let me just double check what it is. Yeah, 11,300 doubloons. So it's an AP only British cruiser, tier 8, and it doesn't have a heal. Torpedoes aren't the best. It's on my avoid list for a reason. It just feels like it's missing something, right? If it had a heal, I think this ship would be worth it. But without that heal, it just feels like something's missing. And with how many other really good tier 8 cruisers there are to get, the Hampshire just falls short, unfortunately. So I have to say I avoid this one. It's not worth getting until they buff it in some way. The next one on this list is going to be the Hood. You can get the Hood for 7,800 doubloons. Do I recommend it? No. It is a battle cruiser for the tier. The ship itself used to be good back in the day, but nowadays with how many new ships that are out, it kind of feels like the Hood got left behind. It's just, yeah, I don't recommend it compared to the other ones. So a fat avoid from me for the Hood. The Indomitable. So the Indomitable is a pretty unique ship, right? It has two strikes, with one being attack aircraft and one being HE bombers. This thing essentially is meant to be a very high skill level CV, where you use those two airstrikes to get permafires on the enemy over and over again. Do I recommend it for 11,300 doubloons? No. It's pretty hard to play, and there are better CVs like the Kaga, the Chakalov. There's other CVs that are just better overall to get than this thing. So I wouldn't really recommend getting this one. If you're a high skill level CV player and you're looking for a more unique playstyle, then sure. But if you're not, then no, I don't recommend it for 11,300 doubloons. Next up on the list, we have the Krasny Krym. So this ship is legendary, and the reason why is because you call it the Krasny Krym. You know why? Because it's a dev strike machine. Anything that shoots this thing, you're essentially going to dev strike it. It's a very, very, very high skill level cruiser where it does have good HE DPM, but you essentially have to dodge everything or you get dev struck. So even though you can get it for 3,800 doubloons, I don't really recommend it unless you want to learn how to dodge. If you want to learn how to dodge, then getting it for 3,800 doubloons will be a good way for you to learn how to dodge and not die in the match while also farming. For the Leningrad, you can get this thing for 7,800 doubloons. I would recommend this. With the Jupiter 42 leaving and this coming in, this is going to be the best destroyer at tier 7 to buy for doubloons. It has good guns for the tier, very maneuverable. It's essentially like a mini Kleber at tier 7. It's You have a smoke to be able to go dark and farm if you need to, very maneuverable. Torpedoes aren't the best, but it's meant to be a gunboat, and that's your whole thing, is just gunboating, and you're not doing anything else. So I definitely recommend the Leningrad at tier 7. So good farmer, not the best torpedo boat, but it's good at hunting out of the destroyers and just being an absolute menace in the match. So highly recommend it for tier 7. All right, so for the Monaghan, you can get this thing for 4,800 doubloons. Now, for the Monaghan, originally I was going to say avoid it because guns are terrible, torpedoes are terrible, but the thing about the torpedoes is they have a 9.2 kilometer range, which is okay for tier 6. But I saw, and it has a torpedo reload booster, which can be really nice. So people are pushing into you is really good, but I still would put this as like slightly avoid because the torpedo range as being 9.2 isn't the best range. So if you're trying to chase down people, you ain't doing anything. But if people pushing you, you're gonna be doing tons of damage. So it's kind of like, for me, I still wouldn't buy it. But if you like getting torpedo boats, then you can get the Monaghan. But other than that, it's really bad. Guns are bad. Concealment's okay for the tier. Maneuverability's good. You get an engine boost. You get the American smoke. But yeah, I would just still avoid it because if you're having to push people, you ain't doing anything that match. Next one on the list is going to be the Mutsu. Now I have the Mutsu as recommended. You can get this for 4,800 doubloons. Now for the armor, it's tier 6. The armor is good for the tier. Very hard to citadel. It comes with some of the largest guns at tier 6 being the 410mm guns, which makes it where you can essentially overmatch everything at tier 6. You can overmatch things at tier 7 and even tier 8. Those are some massive guns. The guns are really good on it. It also comes with torpedoes, which is really interesting for it. But yeah, it does come with torpedoes as well, which can be useful if you are doing drive-bys on your enemies. But overall, highly recommend it. Guns are really good. Armor is good for the tier with good torpedoes. Overall, just a lot of fun to play as well. Comes with a heal, a spotter plane, aerial ASW, but yeah. So I'd highly recommend the Mutsu. Going from something I'd highly recommend to this piece of crap, the Novo. Yeah, there's no in the name. No, do not get this thing. It is absolutely horrible. Even for 4,800 doubloons, this thing is complete garbage. This essentially is the up-tiered, nerfed version of the Caesar, which is one of the best battleships in the game, tier for tier. Yeah, this thing is absolutely horrible. Do not recommend it. Just no. Guns are bad. Just no. Just no. Do not get this thing. No. Yeah. Now we have the Sibir. So the Sibir, I definitely going to be highly recommending it. Now, since it's going to be an uncommon ship, you're going to be able to get it for a total of 26,300 doubloons. Now, this thing is essentially a Kremlin. It's a Kremlin hull, Kremlin survivability, with a 53% torpedo protection when you build into it. It has the same Kremlin guns, 29-second reload, really decent guns. Secondaries go out to 11.3 kilometers when you build into it. I don't have the proper build in the moment, but yes, they go very far out and they do a lot of damage. These secondaries are god tier. The ship also gets a combat instruction where if you hit the enemy with a certain amount of secondary shells, as well as getting potential damage, you get 20% dispersion buff to your guns, which makes them laser accurate. So yeah, it makes it into a brawling machine. You also get a total usage timer for your heal. So you get a heal that you can just keep on while you're brawling the entire time. So this makes you more of like a going in tank, brawling it out and dying kind of ship where you keep your dissonance first, not wasting your HP much at all. And then near the late game or mid game, you just shove it in, use your superior secondaries, your combat instruction and your heal, just out tank the enemy as you melt them down. I would highly recommend it. Tons of fun to play. If you have the money for it, I'd highly recommend it. And if you also have your doubloon coupon, which you're going to be able to spend this on, then I would definitely recommend the ship because you do get, everyone does get a coupon and that refreshes every now and again for 25% off. I would definitely recommend that on getting the Sibir in this list. Out of all the ships that are in this list, the Sibir is going to be my highest recommended for sure. All right, so the Tone. You can get the Tone for 11,300 doubloons. It's one of the first tier 8 cruiser hybrids in the game. It comes with aerial torpedo squadrons. It comes with a Hydro or DFA and a heel. The guns on it are all at the front. There are no guns at the rear. So essentially, all of your firepower is at the front where you can angle it off to the sides as you're cutting away. Torpedoes are 10 kilometers with 12 on this thing. This thing also has very strong concealment when built all the way. So essentially, as you're cutting away, you're using your torpedoes to kind of push back the enemy. It has a really decent reload as well, 76 seconds. So this is more of a niche ship. If you like hybrids, then I would definitely recommend it. If you don't like hybrids, then I would not recommend it. All right, so the Toulon. You can get the Toulon for 4,800 doubloons. It's a really weird cruiser. I don't even know if you should, like, I don't know. It's really weird. You get battleship guns, essentially, on this thing with a 28-second reload. You get 8 at the front, and this thing practically has no armor. So, essentially, it's like you're trying to nuke someone before they kill you. Now, tier 7, that's really bad, because a lot of the time, you're just going to overpin your target. So, would I recommend the Toulon? Hell no. The Velos you're going to be able to get for 18,300 doubloons. Do I recommend it? No. The reason why is that there's just so many other Fletcher classes that just does its role better. It's just kind of just, it's not good enough to be worth 18,300 doubloons. It specializes in torpedoes, having a fast reloader for the torp with nice damage, but you only get one rack, and the guns, they're okay. They're not the best, they're not the worst. You only get 4 of them. And you do get a heal, and you don't get a heal. You only get an engine boost and a smoke. Yeah, no, I don't recommend it. There's just better ships overall than the Velos, so I wouldn't recommend it in this list at all. There's just better destroyers that you can buy for 18,300 doubloons. So moving on from that, let's talk about the Warspite. So the Warspite, one of the oldest premiums in the game, has been around for a long time. You can get it for 4,800 doubloons. Do I recommend it? Yes. It has an amazing guns for the tier, good survivability, armor, it's tier 6. It's just, yeah, it's going to be tier 6 armor. But overall, has a nice heal, has a spotter plane, has good AP, good HE. It's going to smack anything that it shoots at. It does really well. So, the concealment 12 is good as well. Maneuverability is it's not the fastest, but it is tier 6 again. But overall, it's one of the best tier 6 battleships in the game. So I would highly recommend getting it for 4,800 doubloons. All right, so the final ship in this list is going to be the Weimar. I have the Weimar under niche, and I'm going to explain why. So the Weimar, it has a gun range of 14 kilometers. Essentially, it's like like a mines at tier 7. It has a good gun reload for the tier, a lot of guns, 12 of them in total, and it has that improved German pen for the HE. So you're going to be doing a lot of damage on anything you hit. The problem is that the gun range isn't the best, and you do get a spotter plane to help alleviate that. But overall, the Munchkin has lower DPM, but it has more built in already. So it's more of like a 50-50 on what ship you want to get. You either want to get the Munchkin or you want to get the Weimar. So that's why I put it as niche. It just depends upon what you're wanting. If something's pushing into you, you're going to be doing tons of damage. But you have to push them. Yeah, they're going to be doing tons of damage to you. So that's why I have the Weimar as a niche. But yep, that's going to be all the ships that I'll be going over today. Of course, the highest recommended I have is going to be the Sibir. So the highest recommended for sure is going to be this. And again, this is going to be starting getting available on April 7th when this rotation comes in. So that's going to be it right here. So this goes live on April 7th for 6 a.m. my time, and I'm on the Eastern time or EDT time. Yep. But yeah, let me know what ships you guys are interested in. If you guys liked how I did the ships more in a segmented order with the timestamps in the description, let me know what you guys think. And I hope you guys found some ships you're interested in getting. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.